Welcome everyone to We Are Endurance webinar series. We have a new series starting with various races around the country, and I'm really excited to have Jonathan and Allison on the call to talk about Alpha Win. They have a ton of different races here in New York, Florida, California, all over the place, and they're going to talk all about it today. So without further ado, Jonathan, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Somebody needs to go on mute.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jonathan Viola with Alpha Win. I'm the Director of Operations for Alpha Win. Allison is joining us as well. She is the Assistant Race Director, and we produce triathlons around the country, triathlons and marathons, and duathlons actually now. So throughout the country, starting on the East Coast, and we do a few on the West Coast, then we come out back to the East Coast to wrap up the year. So we can answer any questions about triathlon in general, as well as questions about our race after this. One of the things we were going to start out just kind of going over all of the races that we offer and what's sort of special about them. And I'll let Allison jump in if she has any comments along the way. But basically, I'll kind of start the year with our calendar. That's the easiest way to go through it. Our first event of the year is in January in Sarasota, Florida, is our first triathlon. We put on the triathlon at Nathan Benderson Park, which is it's actually a rowing facility. It was designed as a triathlon championship location, but it developed into one of the largest rowing championship locations during the winter months. So a lot of your northern crew teams come down to race at Nathan Benderson Park, but it's actually a great location for us. Sarasota is a beautiful city. It's the right time of year. We had great water temperatures, and the course is, like most places in Florida, is flat, and it's a great winter escape. So that's why we like Sarasota. The town embraces us. The county embraces us. So it's a great location. We have a nice transition area. And by the way, let me go back and just say, you can go to our website, www.alpha.win, and you can register there. Everything you need. We have a very comprehensive website that includes all the information you need to know. We put athlete guides and schedules for each event. You can register. You can look at maps. So moving on from Sarasota, our second event of the year is Ave Maria, and that's, go ahead.
One second, I just want to just make note that Sarasota race is a half Ironman also, right? You've got sprint, Olympic, and half distance races in there. So it's not just, and then you have the other ones as well, but
absolutely. Yeah, most of our and I'll step back for a second, but most of our events are multi-distance, and most of the triathlons do include a half Ironman, up until last year, we did what we call the full distance, which was the 140.6. The half distance is a 70.3, obviously, as you know, and then we offer 70.3s, Olympics, sprint, and an open, which is kind of a super sprint at many of our races, and sometimes even a splash and dash. So a lot of our events, we also offer a duathlon, which is just the bike and the run, and we also do some just swim and bikes as well, aqua bikes as well. So we do offer the full gamut of events throughout our races. So thanks for pointing that out. To go back to our second event, it's the Ave Maria Marathon, and that is just a marathon here in Florida, and that's due east of Naples. So again, we're capturing in February, we're capturing the good weather here in Florida, and Ave Maria is a fantastic location for multi-distance races. We do a full marathon, a half, a 10K, a 5K, and a 1 mile family run there. And again, we offer all the distances. That's sort of, I don't know if anybody knows, but we started out as HITS Endurance, and we've rebranded as Alpha Wins. So we've been in the triathlon business now for about 10 years. And sort of the motto with HITS Endurance was always a distance for everyone. And that's kind of what our goal is with Alpha Win. We offer, in my opinion, and Allison can back me up here, but we offer excellent customer service. And our biggest, I think that's kind of how you and I got to know each other, Hillary. Anytime an athlete has a problem, we can figure it out. Any questions, if we can help you enhance your race, if we can give you some pointers, we're willing to do that. At the same time, we're one of the few events that if you register with us, and whether it be for injuries or whether it be for work commitments or just schedule changes in your life, we understand things come up all the time. So we do offer the opportunity to transfer races. Go ahead, Hillary.
So what I was going to say is I had signed up for the Alpha Win in Hudson Valley, and then I got COVID, so I couldn't do it. And then they gave me the entry to, for something else. So I registered for Sarasota, and then I got pneumonia. But they were really great about me transferring, whereas some of these other race companies are not so generous. So I just want to say that because I really appreciated that.
Well, life, and we were happy to help, and life happens. We understand that. There is a $25 fee, so it's to transfer to another race, but that's a lot better than losing your entire registration fee. And that's pretty much just to cover the cost of, 9 times out of 10, we've already bought you a t-shirt, we bought you a swim cap, we've invested in an entry. So with our ordering. So we do have a nominal change fee, but we're happy to move people, and we have a lot of people at no charge within a race. That's another thing I'd like to mention, is that if you've been training for a half distance or an Olympic distance, and you just decide on race day that you're just not up to doing the distance that maybe you've trained for or didn't have enough time to train for, and you want to drop the distance to a sprint, let's say, instead of an Olympic, we're happy to do that free of charge. Or if you even say on the day, hey, I'm feeling strong and I want to bump it up a notch, we're happy to move you up. So those we can cater to most athletes' needs. So we're very flexible in that manner. So to get back to the events, after our Ave Maria Marathon, we jumped to Ocala. And Ocala is a smaller race. We've been putting it on for a long time, smaller in numbers. We do a half distance there, the 70.3. We do the Olympic, the sprint. Ocala is a little bit unique because we offer the swim, it's a lake swim, beautiful, warm water, shallow lake. The bike is also flat. The run is a trail run. It's through the Ocala National Forest, and it's absolutely beautiful. So some people, we've had a lot of feedback on that over the years, and some people just love Ocala for that, for the trail run at that venue. So we do offer something a little bit different at every location. After Ocala's finished, that's when we start to move back up north. We're working on, right now, we're currently working on the walkway over the Hudson, the Hudson Valley Marathon at the walkway over the Hudson. So that's our newest addition. And that's going to be, again, much like Ave Maria, we're going to do a full distance marathon. Ave Maria and Hudson Valley Marathon are both, will both be Boston Marathon qualifiers, which is important. But we'll also offer a half marathon, 10K, 5K, and a 1 mile run. And Allison, feel free to jump in if I'm incorrect on any of these details. But after the Hudson Valley Marathon, we moved to the Hudson Valley Triathlon. That's in July. So we kind of spend the summer in the New York region. The Hudson Valley Triathlon is fantastic. You're up around the Ashokan Reservoir. You're at Williams Lake for the swim, biking around the Ashokan Reservoir, and then a beautiful run. Now we start to get out of the flat terrain of Florida, and we start moving into a little bit more of a hilly, challenging summer experience. So the weather, the temperatures are great in Hudson Valley during the summer. It's still not too hot in July. And then we move on to Lake George in August. Lake George, big race, championship style. We run some high school championships during our event there. Much more competitive environment, and a lot of seasoned athletes show up to Lake George just for the sheer beauty of it. It's spectacular. The mountains are surrounding you, and it's breathtaking. So we're happy to have that event in Lake George. Again, no fulls at this point this year for Alpha Win. We've eliminated our full distance races, the 140s. So our longest distance is the 70.3. We do the Lake George race on Sunday, August 11th. I'm sorry, Saturday and Sunday. Some of our races, because of the size of the athlete, of the registrations, we can manage to squeeze everything into a Saturday. But Lake George, as I said, all those races, you're a good number of people in them. If you want to stay into a small group, Lake George might not be your best, but because those numbers are pretty big out in the water. And but Saturday and Sunday for that race. Then we move to the West Coast. June Lake, California is our first event in California in August 19th. That is a Saturday, a one-day event. Again, the half, Olympic, sprint, and a super sprint out there as well. Allison, do we do the splash and dash in June Lake? I don't think so, do we?
No, so the June Lake, the shortest distance is going to be a kids race. So that would be similar to the open distance that we offer at our Napa events. But this is just for kids. So normally our open distance is geared towards two separate age groups, more of a kids to like early teens age, and then above that age, 18 and older would be our adults. That way we're carrying to both children and beginners, because not everyone starts triathlon at such an early age. So we try to gear it towards everyone that can be able to try out the sport. But June Lake specifically is a 50-meter swim, 2 mile bike, and 1 mile run. That's just for kids event.
Thank you. And I want to touch on that for a second, because a lot of athletes, so as we all know, the sport of triathlon, we're always trying to get people to join and get involved and become more fit and start. And it can be intimidating. It can be overwhelming. And one of the things that we started was this open distance. And a lot of the races that we offer the open distance, it's fantastic to see the ages from the youngest children to the oldest adult trying to get into the sport. And this gives them the opportunity to experience getting your wetsuit on, going through the swim, having crowds around you, getting in the transition area, changing, getting on your bike, going through T1, going through T2. That's an incredible experience for somebody, and the Open offers them the opportunity to work on, as a beginner, experience how the sport works and maybe polish up and get ready for the sprint. So it's a good learning experience. Next, we'll go to, well, let me just touch on June Lake as well. June Lake, by the way, is considered the Alps of California. I mean, it is just spectacular. I don't know if many people have been out there, but it is truly breathtaking environment. It's some of the nicest water I've ever seen in this country. And I thought Lake George was some of the most beautiful water, but when you're in June Lake, California, it's fascinating how pretty that spot is. It is remote, untouched, and which makes it nice. But anyway, it is a bit of a travel to get there. Many of our events, though, we really try to gear them as a destination. Like many races, you want people to have the opportunity that if they're coming with their family, that they can have other things to do and check out that area. So then we come back east. We do that Lake George Triathlon, which I talked about in September. That's a 2-day event. And then we move on to Saugerties, New York, which is September 17th, a smaller, we call that our hometown race. That's a smaller event, fewer people, but it's a great location if you're in the New York City area to get up to Saugerties. It's just off the train line, very accessible. And again, it's our hometown. So we put that on every year and we tend to have a great turnout. We've got a hotel and conference center right there. We put on a great breakfast as sort of a thank you to our athletes who've supported us throughout the year in New York. And last year we did a 3-part series where if you raced with us in Lake George, in Hudson Valley, Lake George, and Saugerties, we did a 3-part medal and the power of one there. So we did enjoy that. Then after our Saugerties race, we moved back to California, and we have our Palm Springs Triathlon. We go back to Napa Valley, California, and I don't know, I think I skipped Napa Spring. Did I, Allison? I don't think I talked about Napa Spring, but we basically do 2 races in Napa a year. We do a Napa Spring event and a Napa Fall event. So the cool thing about Napa is if you have ever been to Napa, that is a challenging event. And we see a lot of, in the spring and the fall, we see a lot of West Coast tri clubs out of San Francisco and LA, and they come up and they're competitive, they want to race, and they're used to the hills. That is definitely some elevation in that race. And you're swimming in Lake Berryessa, which is an amazing wide open piece of water there. And again, it's a great destination for families who want to visit wine country. You're in close proximity. Just make sure that you pack your luggage because it's pretty remote up there. So make sure you bring your gear. No bike shop close by to get you some equipment, but we do offer good bike support at all of our races. We tend to have a bike shop as a partner at every race, and Napa is a great location. Before that, we do Palm Springs as well. This year in October, we're putting on, that is also a championship for us. And that event this year is the military championship, the USA Triathlon military and first responders for 2023. So that's a big championship race. Very, very cool event. It's in close proximity. So we call that race Palm Springs, but it's very close to La Quinta and the Coachella Valley. So that is wonderful. Again, wonderful location for families to visit along with athletes. You know, so many of us get so focused on racing and training and all that, and we forget that we have others with us that are cheering us on, and they might look for something else to do while they're coming to the race with us. After Palm Springs, we do the Napa Fall Race, and then we jump to San Dimas, California in November. San Dimas is a shorter distance. We only do the Olympics and the sprint there, but we also run our turkey trot. So we do a triathlon on, we do a running race on Saturday and the triathlon on Sunday. Or did I have that backwards? I'm sorry. We do the tri on Sunday, that's right. And the showing on our calendar, Allison, we'll have to fix that. Showing both races on Sunday.
Yes, so we're doing a one-day event. It is a one-day event this year. So similar
See?
to last year, we're gonna stick, in the past, we had done a 2-day event. But since we only have a limited amount of distances at this venue, we've decided to just move it to a one-day event because we didn't have any difficulty with it last year, fitting in both the triathlon in the morning, because by the time we get everybody out on the bike and run courses, the running events can start in late morning, early afternoon with no problem. So at that venue, again, we only have a couple distances. So for the turkey trot, we've got the 1 mile, 5K, and the 10K. So we don't call it quite a marathon or a half marathon, just the turkey trot for that day.
And that, if anybody knows, is very close to the city. San Dimas is right there. I mean, it's just so convenient to the city. So it's just again, a great venue and a lot of families around the holidays. That's kind of how we wrap up our season in San Dimas, and we enjoy, that's kind of how we wrap up the West Coast as well as our season overall. So we offer a lot of races this year. I think we're up to 14 races, events all in all this year. And that's a little bit about Alpha Wind. So do we have any questions that you guys have? It looks like we got Hillary asked a bunch in California. Yep, we do. We do offer a bunch of races in California between June Lake and Palm Springs, 2 Napas and San Dimas. So we are primarily on the West Coast and the East Coast.
So the closest ones to Washington State then would be our more northern ones in California. June Lake would be a great option, or our Napa races too.
Hey, I just have a question about the Hudson Valley.
Yes.
So I've done that twice, love the course, especially because the run is on a rail trail and it's shady and everything. That's
Absolutely.
fantastic. Is the last year they had to run the course north because there was some work on the southern part. So is the course running north or south this year for the run?
Go ahead, Allison. You were going to answer that.
Sure. So that work should be clear this year. So we should be able to go the original route then this year.
Yeah, either way is cool because I thought the northern one last year was great going past that cave and you had that blast of cold air. That was terrific.
Yeah, a great part of that course to look forward to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is a spectacular location, and we really try to, the two things that make us a little bit unique. I know that there are other events out there in a lot of great cities, but we really try to look for specific characteristics that make our races just that much different. So you're right, though, the rail trail, Ray, is fantastic. And this year, the walkway, or the Hudson Valley Marathon over the walkway, I mean, that's a unique event, right? I mean, we're going over that. How long is that walkway, Allison?
Oh, I don't know the length of the walkway over the top of my head, but I mean, where else can you run across the Hudson River like that?
And you're up there. I mean, it's high.
Right. The longest pedestrian bridge in the US, I believe.
Yep.
So is that just a marathon or are you offering a half marathon as well?
We are
We are.
offering the half. So we've got five distances for that event: the 1 mile, 5K, 10K, half, and full marathon.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The one in Ocala, also you said had a rail trail or some type of a trail run, right?
Correct. That is an actual trail. So most of our running races are on asphalt or on a road or like a paved rail trail or something. This is actually sand and dirt trail through the Ocala National Forest. So it's amazing. I've done that race before, and it's you get a little taste of being in the Everglades. Let me just tell you, it's Florida in its true nature.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, we're a little
Um,
north of the Everglades, but it's that environment.
So we see some gators while we're running, right?
We hope not. We hope not.
Hey, it'll get us to run faster, right?
There you go. There you go.
The Hudson Valley Run, that is in May, you said?
The Hudson Valley Marathon over the
Yeah.
walkway.
Yes, yeah, the Hudson Valley Marathon's May 7th, so a Sunday.
Yep, that's correct.
Next year for May. I'm
Yeah,
going to
no.
be in Japan
Oh, what a great trip.
for a month.
Fantastic. And I was trying to make it concise. I don't know what our time limit is here, Hillary, but I'm happy. We're happy to answer questions as long as people have them.
Yeah, does anybody have any other questions?
See, David's got his hand raised if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, thank you first of all for coming and on a presentation for Alpha Win. I'm actually a newer runner, and one of the things that I want to incorporate, because I live in New York City, is having my family involved. So as a first time, I've done like 2 half marathons. I've got another one coming up this year. I got a triathlon I'm training for, and then I got a full marathon at the end of the year. But what would you recommend for someone like myself that would like to do a race with his wife or my 20-year-old daughter to make it a family event? And remind you, I live out in Long Island in New York. What would you recommend?
You want me to take that one, Allison?
Doesn't matter. Either of us could answer it.
Yeah, I will say it depends. First of all, you would decide what are you asking the question about which location would we recommend or what distance?
For what distance? So both, right? Because distance is also going to be a big thing, because I never want my family to be intimidated and then get really turned off. I always want them to get excited. So I would give them something that's real manageable and real easy, and then also location wise.
So
The only thing I was going to say about that was obviously it's all, I got a little bit of an echo here, but it's all based on the athletic. We list all the distances for each race on our website, and it really depends if you've got a family that runs together and you're confident that you can do the sprint distance is not that long. It's about an hour to an hour and a half race. If you're used to working out for that period of time, I would highly recommend to jumping into a sprint. If you really just want to dip your toe in the water, then I would say go into any one of our open distances. But I did my very first race in a sprint. You wrap up with a 3.1 mile run. It's fantastic. I mean, it's short enough where you're not going to kill yourself, but long enough where you actually feel like you've done something. In terms of locations, you're in the city. I think Hudson Valley is spectacular. Lake George, we offer, it really depends how far from the city you want to get. Lake George is one of my favorite locations. Hudson Valley is earlier in the year, but Saugerties is right on the train line, and it's a cute little town. So really all three offer a great location. And Allison, how do you feel about that?
yeah, so I was going to recommend Saugerties, especially because it is a smaller event. It's more geared towards beginners, or that'd be a great event for beginners to attend, just because it is such a small event. And we can really provide that personalized feel for that event. So Saugerties would be my first one that I would recommend. And then Hudson Valley again I'm actually have the background for Hudson Valley Swim up at Williams Lake. So Hudson Valley's, a great location for those in the city in Long Island, since it's just a quick trip up from the city. So that's our closest one to that location. But, and again, Lake George is gorgeous as well. If you're looking for an event to do with your family, not necessarily triathlon though, I would recommend the walkway race as well, because that is also close to the city. It is right by the train station. So it's easy to just take a train up from the city to attend that one. And we've got a couple distances for that one. And as we mentioned earlier, it's very flat. So it's a very easy, accessible course for those of any training level. So if you're new to running, if some of your family members are new to it, and that's a beautiful run and flat, easy course, just an out and back. So it's a great one for beginners too. Great one for beginners too.
Oh, I like that one. Honestly, because I know my wife isn't going to swim, but she's doing she's a run walk.
Perfect.
So that would be like,
Perfect.
a great race to do with her at her speed. Run, walk, just to have footwear to see. Because I know the excitement of finishing the race and the esteem that it gives you is amazing. It's amazing.
Definitely.
It's amazing.
Yep.
So
Thanks again.
I have a question about that Hudson. Sorry, I have a question about that Hudson Valley walkway. So with the longer distance, obviously you're going to run across the big bridge, right? What about the shorter distances? Do you touch upon the bridge at all? Or is it just, you're like turn around?
No, they all start at the same place, and
Oh.
everyone goes across the walkway. It just, the longer distances go further down the Hudson Valley Rail Trail.
Got it.
Yep. So we're all going to start on the west side of the walkway. So we're going to start really at the end of the Hudson Valley Rail Trail. And so the mile is just going to go about halfway across the bridge and then right back. They're all out and back, so easy courses. And then everyone else, for the longer distances, they'll go across the walkway, and then they'll go out onto the Dutchess County Rail Trail. And then everyone will come right back across the walkway. So they'll all get a chance to have that awesome view of the river.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have questions? You're on mute, Jonathan. I see your mouth moving, but we don't hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. One thing I would like to add before we wrap up, if there's no more questions, our website our email address, info@alpha.win, should be one that everyone writes down. That info@alpha.win. Allison or I will answer all of your questions. We get so many new athletes. We get no question is too crazy for us to answer. People ask us about wetsuits and swims and different bike equipment required, and we're happy to help you with all that. We have some great sponsors. A lot of people just don't know things like getting into the sport of triathlon. We have a 60% discount code for Xterra. You can get a wetsuit for like $99 or less. I actually this week saw a wetsuit for $78, and people think that it's just too hard to get into a sport like triathlon, but there's so many easy ways, and we're here to help you get into it.
The other thing I want to mention, just so that everybody knows here, is that Alpha Win is a sponsor of We Are Endurance, and we do get a discount, and there is a discount code. So before you sign up, just make sure you get that discount code. I forget exactly how much it is, but I've got the list. So when you go to sign up, just make sure you get in touch with me so I can give you the code.
And I believe that's 20% off, Hillary, but if it's not, let me know and we'll update it.
Okay, I think it is, but I
Yeah.
don't remember. Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And we all look forward to racing in your races. coming.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I've included our info email as well as our phone number in the chat as well, if anyone wants to jot it down.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you all for
Thank
joining us
you.
today, and we hope to
Thank
see
you.
you at the races.
All right. Bye.
Thank you all.